Good evening and welcome to Olde Tyme Taunton. I am your host, Charles Crowley, and what we do every week is talk about our community and hopefully generate a greater amount of interest and enthusiasm in our city and hopefully a greater appreciation. That's what our goal is here. This is all volunteer. This is show number or episode number 299. We're live here tonight from our studios on Ingle Street in January of 2012. We're going to be live, so we're going to be able to take your calls. If you want to talk about the topic tonight, 774-501-1756. And the topic tonight is going to be downtown Taunton, so you've got no excuse. Anyone who lives in the city of Taunton can talk about downtown. I've got 150 some odd pictures here tonight, and we're really going to go back and really stir up some memories about our downtown. And I'll tell you a little bit about what I know about downtown, and please give us a call and let me know and all the viewers know what you know about downtown Taunton. What was so special about it? What brought you downtown? The picture that we have here is a picture in the late 50s. It shows how busy downtown Taunton was. And a lot of times it attracted not only people doing their shopping, but occasionally there were events downtown that attracted a lot of people. Events like the 300th anniversary of Bristol County in June of 1985, and that is when a certain popular comedian came by the name, no, it was not Dick Johnson, the comedian was Bob Hope. That's former Mayor Richard Johnson on the right, and on the left is the world-renowned Bob Hope, the comedian. He was hired to come and entertain the citizens of Taunton and the county. These are some beautiful pictures taken by Mike Gay of the Taunton Daily Gazette, right there with live and in person on the courthouse lawn. And it drew thousands of people to downtown Taunton that particular day. But we're going to talk about some of the shops, some of the activities, what it's looked like over the years. Perhaps you want to give us a call, 774-501-1756. We're live here from our studios. We're talking about downtown Taunton tonight. And to really start is, what did it look like? One of the oldest pictures in my private collection is from actually 1859. Prior to that, and that's what it looked like. The area on the left, the building on the left, would be right in the corner of School Street, where the old H.L. Greens used to be. Those buildings on the right were those buildings along the south side of Main Street, where Swart's Office Supply used to be, and all those Good Nows used to be. But now you have the Antique Center and a number of other stores there. But that was prior to a disastrous fire that destroyed much of downtown on November 27th, 1859. And right in the center of the picture, or just slightly right of center, there was a building there right where the old studio for Comcast studio was, where Good Nows used to be. They had to dynamite the building in order to stop the fire. This is the picture of the aftermath of the Great Fire in 1859. It was taken from the corner of Taunton Green and Ware Street, looking down. The building that you see to the left, that's where home for the troops is now, where Woolworths used to be. And this would be all right from Ware Street going down, and they had to dynamite the building at the upper part of this picture in order to use as a fire break. Otherwise, it would have swept all the way down the center. But in the place of that, in 1859 fire, arose this building that's still there. That's what they call Union Block. And it was called Union Block because it was built right at the time when the Civil War was about to erupt nationally. And it was more of a symbolic way of, here in Taunton, to demonstrate its support for the Union's cause to keep the country united. But you can see the little scaffolding that's up on top of the building there in the process of putting up the old Pierce Hardware sign. You can see all the windows. Look at all the windows in the second floor, all the way in that building. They're all exactly the same, and same with the third floor. And that has changed. It's not like that today. One of the big changes came is where, if you look at this picture, there's a clock there. See here, this is taken from opposite from School Street, looking across. That lamp post that you see, that is where the clock is today on Main Street. Oak Hall, that was the shop of Samuel Colby. Later on, his son George Colby ran it. It was one of the most successful and popular men's and boys clothing store in not just Bristol County, but in Plymouth County area. People came from miles around to the Colby clothing store. But as you see that where that lamppost is, this picture shows you in the upper left, they put in these big windows because with the old windows that we saw like this, you had to rely on gas lighting. So if you go in and you bought a blue suit and you come outside in natural light, it might be black or vice versa. So it kind of distorted the colors. So what they put in those big windows to let in natural light, so that when you went in there and you bought a blue suit, it would be blue when you get outside. And they actually put an advertisement in the newspaper saying that. So that's the advertisement from that. They had the little medallions there from compliments of Colby Clothing House in Taunton, Massachusetts. But that shows you the evolution of the clock. It's the Colby clock. The Colby family is the one who installed the clock. And when they closed in 1926, it lay dormant for a while, and then the TMLP took it over. And many of you might remember the picture in the center back in the 70s, when it looked like that, 70s early, around 1980. It was just horrible. And then they now have the more traditional one that you see on the right, when it was restored tastefully. But those big picture windows you see, those are the windows that were installed by the Colby Clothing Company. That's where Schwartz Office Supply used to be for many years. That's inside Colby's clothing store. And you can see the gas lighting fixtures right there hanging down from the ceiling. Perhaps you know some things about downtown Taunton, or you have a question. Give us a call here, 774-501 1756. And usually everybody's shy about being the first caller. And then once the call comes in, then others will follow. So don't be shy about it. But just make sure that you're not calling from a cell phone. You use a regular phone. And if you're calling from a private line, you star 82, and then the number, and that's what'll get you into here, and you can speak live to me. Talk about anything dealing with downtown, or have a question about downtown, try it out. I'll try to tell you what I know about it. And if I don't know the answer next week, I'll give you that answer. This is downtown, showing you in the 50s and showing you W.T. Grant's. That's with Pierce Hardware, and Grant's would later move out up on Warner Boulevard, on Winthrop Street, at the corner of Warner Boulevard, and then later Caldors would move into that. But you can see some of these very popular stores in the downtown area. That's looking at another angle of that from the beginning of Ware Street. That's Union Block. And you get Liggett's is on the corner, Liggett's Drugstore. Then you had Singer's. You had Pierce Hardware, Carroll's, Grant's was there. Maybe you know some stores that aren't photographed here, and we'll be showing a lot of stores tonight, so nothing's going to be left to chance. This is taken in the 1960s, 1966 actually, and it shows you looking across to the courthouse with the dome there, a 1959 Ford in the front lower right with a 57 Chevy right behind it, and that shows you what the Colby clock looked like. And you had the gift boutique, used to be on the corner where the beauty salon is, the beauty school. And then, of course, H.L. Green's, the gob shop, was downtown. Maybe you went to some of those stores. Which was your favorite store in downtown Taunton? I'm sure there's so many of them. 774-501 1756. We're live here January 18th, 2012. This is our 14th season. It's all volunteer. I started in July of 1998 doing this program, and it's been on ever since. I do it all volunteer. I use photographs, a lot of them from my private collection and some from the collection of the Old Colony Historical Society and some from the Taunton Daily Gazette. Oh, we have a call. You're next in Old Tyme Taunton. Hi.
Hi, Charlie.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Good.
Charlie, I do remember some old times of the city of Taunton.
Sure.
And I remember Woolworths.
Oh, yes.
And
Whoops, we lost that call. Just try again, 774-501-1756. Well, when you get disconnected somehow, let me see. When we get the call to come through, you're next in Old Tyme Taunton. Hello?
Charlie.
Yes, hi.
Yeah, I remember Woolworths. Mm-hmm. And do you have pictures, Charlie, of Up With People?
I don't have one here on the program. I do have a picture of the Up With People concert.
I remember them. I used to go to every concert when they were downtown.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, there's all kind of activities. There was art shows. I have pictures I didn't use in this program, but we'll go through tonight. A Big Bird from the Sesame Street in downtown.
Well, if you could find some pictures of Up With People in the future, you could show that.
Sure, I'll do that. Great.
Okay, Charlie.
Thanks. Thank you. Bye-bye. Oh, that gentleman, that starts it off. Now, maybe you can give us a try here. We'll show you some of the stores downtown. The next view shows you looking down Main Street. The building actually that we'll see will be up. Oh, let me see. We haven't got it up here yet. There we go. The Wise store, right in the corner where the beauty store is today, or the beauty school. And then, of course, it was the gift boutique at one time. That shows you some of the stores that were there. There it is. There's another view of it. And the old sign for Woolworths, as that gentleman just called, was talking about. Woolworths was at one time over where the Sovereign Bank was before they moved here on Main Street about 1939. But maybe there was other favorite stores. What was the best part of some of the stores downtown? Maybe the shopkeepers that you knew about. That's that same area in 1972 when that store on the corner was Applegate's. And that was a parade that was taken. You had Warren Jewelers down there, Fannie Farmers, Jet Cleaners, a lot of different ones in that area. This is 1966. On the right, you can see Grant's, Endicott Johnson store, Puritans, Tom Thumb, the old Goodnows. You also had Foreman's, the Paradise Cafe. Perhaps there were some other stores that you remember. There's a closer view showing the Pierce Taunton Hardware store, the Bookmart. That was one of the big popular bookstores in town. This is Pierce Hardware store, where the Antique Center is today, and Tex Barry's is in part of it, the hot dog place. But it shows you the advertisements that were on the side of the building. And then take a look inside. That's the interior of Pierce Hardware. Some beautiful, it brings back so many memories when you go through there. They had all kinds of things inside here. We'll do another view of it. All the old wooden floors in that building. That's now where the Antique Center is. And just look at the ceilings in this picture. It's amazing, the tin ceilings. Here's another view when you went down the stairs at all the different shops. They actually had a door going out onto Ware Street. Perhaps you remember that. 774-501-1756. They broke the ice. The first caller broke the ice. So now we're here live. January 18th, 2012. We're in our 14th season. And next week, we'll be having our 300th episode of Old Tyme Taunton. So hope you'll tune in. We'll have something special, some old clips and some special guests. It should be a lot of fun. Because many of the people over the years, we've had many, many guests over the years. I haven't really got a count on all the ones we've had as special guests, but who was your favorite guest? Pierce Hardware, that's the facade for Pierce Hardware, a popular landmark in Main Street. Also, Leonard's Ice Cream Shop. That was on right in Union Block, right. I can't recall what's there now, but just before you get to Puritans, in that area where Puritans was, and Endicott Johnson. That was there until around 1959, I believe. Many people remember Duran's, which we'll see a little bit later on, but this is one of the popular ice cream stands in the 50s, 60s. It started about 1888 and went up until about 1959. But beautiful, you can see, look at the ceilings there, the lighting, and that's where many people, they go down to the theaters that were downtown, and then they'd go over to get some ice cream afterwards. Singer store downtown, Freddie Michaels had a store, all kind of beautiful stores. We couldn't forget Ron Swartz's Swartz Office Supply, right where the clock is. Very, very popular store for many, many years. Ron Swartz being on the Taunton Redevelopment Authority, and he's still, matter of fact, he still is, still involved in downtown Taunton. There's the Tom Thumb and Puritan store. Was there perhaps a particular store that was that you were fond of? Just let us know. If you have a cell phone, or more specifically, call from a landline. But if you have a private line, just use the *82, and that will allow you to then press the number 774-501-1756. That'll get you through. Here we're live tonight, and we're going to take a little stroll through downtown Taunton over the years. And we're going to be, before we show you the talk about good nows, we just have a call coming through. You're next on Olde Tyme Taunton.
Yeah, how about the GC restaurant?
The GC restaurant? Where I don't.
That was right before the New York Lace, in that area next to Mendy's, the bakery down there.
Okay.
Yeah, it burnt down. You didn't have insurance for it, so you couldn't rebuild it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because they had the Paradise Cafe.
Right, that's the one probably.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that one, I don't know.
George, that Italian guy.
Yeah, let me see if we can, we'll get one of these pictures. Maybe it'll be in the pictures. Because I'm going to go down Main Street and come up the other side and go around the green. And maybe we have it in one of the pictures coming up, okay?
Okay, guys,
Great,
thanks.
thanks. See, it's very easy. There we go. The Good Nows, that's where, right where the Comcast store was in the bridal studio, right at the corner of the alleyway between Foreman's. That's where we did the show for many, many years. But this is one of the most popular parts of Good Nows. That's the, Tom Lahar gave me one of these many years ago after Good Nows closed. And that was part of the system that was right on the counter. And you can see the little canister. And they'd put if you go in and buy something and you put your money in the receipt in it, the clerk would, and then it would go through the pneumatic tube and bing bang all through the store, and down in the back, you could hear it plop into the basket, and then the person would make the change there and then send it back to the clerk at the counter. So you'd go in there with your parents and you'd be begging them to buy even a pair of socks, anything, just so you could see the thing go through that and hear it go through the pneumatic tube. Now in the banks you have these all the time, but back at the time that was pretty novelty. And there he is, here's Tom Lahar up front of the more modern sign out in front of Lahar, and he was quite the character in downtown. Nice guy. This is the Market Basket on Main Street, and I believe the gentleman I'm not sure if he's the one in the bow tie. I think it is the grandfather of Herman Mell. Is the grandfather of Barry Cooperstein. If I stand to be corrected, if somebody knows differently, I believe that's who it's the grandfather of Barry Cooperstein, member of the Taunton School Committee. There we go, looking down to Garcia's Bakery, the Children's Shop, Tony's Pizza, Beneficial Loans, Central Radio, St. Pierre's, all kinds of stores downtown. There's the New York Lace that you see. This picture was taken about 1980, but you can see downtown Taunton was flourishing even then. This is before the Silver City Galleria. This picture was taken in the 50s. You can see where St. Pierre's Shoe Store was, Central Radio, Kennedy's. Was there a popular store that you remember downtown? Who was maybe some of the famous characters in the downtown? 774-501-1756. We're live here from our studios. It's Olde Tyme Taunton. I'm your host, Charlie Crowley. Give us a call. Let us know what you think about or recall about downtown Taunton. What made downtown Taunton so special? Maybe it was E.A. Thomas. E.A. Thomas was right where Dana's furniture store was. You see the children's shop to the right. The actual upper floors, what is in this picture, the second and third floor, was actually the house that was on the ground level. They jacked it up in order to put the store, the floor there, so you could walk in. And that was where Dr. Foster Swift, Dr. Foster Swift made here. This is where Elizabeth Pole, not in this house, but on this site. And that's right where St. Pierre's Shoe Store is today. But Dr. Foster Swift's son was the first graduate of West Point. So we've had some unique individuals. See the house on the top? That's when it was on the ground level. They jacked it up in order to put the E.A. Thomas' store in. This is right opposite Cedar Street. If you're coming out where Dana's furniture store is and where St. Pierre's store is. Here it is. There's Dana's. Dana's would be right to the left of that, that E.A. Thomas actually. That's the old storefront in the 50s, Dana's. That's, of course, in the 60s and 70s, many people remember it with the green background to that sign and the silver letters, but Dana's. That's the old storefront for New York Lace Store. And of course, they changed it in later years, but that was one of the more popular clothing stores for women all over the region. People would come from miles around, or you'd go to Goldstein's and Antine's. That was right in the Star Theater building, and then you had B.F. Stanton's was on the left, and there's Ben's was a little coffee shop right to the right, where Fred's Casioza had a store there. Betty's also had a little diner there as well. There it is. Is also Cappy's Lunch was right there. Fred's News, and this was in 1980. They had a parade in Taunton for Rose Kennedy, who was celebrating her 90th birthday. So that's part of the little entourage they had. Now, if you're looking up from in front of Attorney Brennan's office, looking up Main Street towards Taunton Green, that's what it would look like back late 40s, early 50s. You had Bristol County Radio there on the corner. That's the corner of Union Street, right where that fire hydrant is. And that's right directly across in the old City Hall. And you can see that was Phyllis Iron's office. That was originally the Winthrop Club. And that is where it was a private men's club. It's where the first bowling alley in Taunton was. And you can see the building just to the right of it. That was the old Servicemen's Club. That gray building that was there, up in the 1980s, I think it was torn down. But that was installed there it was a portable building in one of the local schools that was moved there. And it was a reception center for some of the troops where they can get writing paper, donuts, things like refreshments, because there's so many troops in Taunton during World War II because of Camp Miles Standish. That was up where the Paul Dever School and where the Miles Standish Industrial Park is. But looking, if we're coming back up Main Street, this is the right opposite the old City Hall, and you can see Plank and Hanson's was located there at the corner of Main Street and Union Street, and then the building next to it, the taller building, it was destroyed by fire, and that's where the park is, Liberty Union Park or DeWitt Plaza. And then the one thing you can see there, right where that arrow is, watch where that arrow is. It's A&P Supermarket. That's where it was before it was on Spring Street. There it is. That's where they moved and built one of the more modern supermarkets at the time, back in the 50s. And that's where they had the water. I mean, not the water, but they had a little rollers, if you want to call it, a little table, a chute that would come out to put the groceries in a basket and roll it out front so you could pick it up and load it into your car. So it was quite a different feature there for A&P. But the building that was right across from City Hall, is destroyed by fire in 1964. So that's in the progress, putting that out. But you can see where it says finest, that's where the Taunton Police Station is today. It was originally a supermarket. Then it's now the Joseph Amaral Municipal Building, where otherwise known as the Taunton Police Department. There it is, the finest supermarkets. They used to have a lot of the smaller grocery stores, but then these supermarkets became all the rage. Perhaps you remember that. You can see here a 1949 Ford, a 1953, 54 Plymouth, there right under the parking sign, and then a 56 Chevy that's just to the left of that. This is the area, extreme left is where Cedar Street would be. This was the Machinist National Bank to the left. Then it was the Bristol County Furniture Store. That used to be the Bijou Theater at one time. And then the Taunton Hardware would be right to the extreme right, where it's now that little plaza that we talked about. This is the building at the corner of Main Street and Cedar Street when it was Skinner's. It was a dry goods store, Skinner's. It would later be the Bay Bank, the Machinist Bank and Bay Bank in more modern times. But this picture would be probably taken in the late 40s, early 50s. Perhaps you remember those, going into some of these stores or banks or institutions. You'd like to talk about them. 774-501-1756. This is episode number 299. Next week we're going to do a live show honoring the 300th episode of Olde Tyme Taunton. So we're taking a little stroll through memory lane down in downtown Taunton. The sports shop where the Clothes Horse was at one time. And a lot of the downtown had these large billboards downtown. And it got to the point where they were making an effort to try to remove them all. But it became quite a unsightly area with all these huge billboards. There's still a few downtown, but not as many as there used to be. Perhaps you remember London's. There used to be a London's in Attleboro, but they actually was a London's here in Taunton. Puritan's was over here at one time this would be the north side of Main Street. Then Carroll's. And then you had the area to the left would be where Tuxtown would be. See, that's what it looks like today. See, that's what it looks at one time. That's what it looks like afterwards. You're next on Olde Tyme Taunton. Hi. You're live. Go ahead. Yeah, if you could turn your TV down, because there's a feedback, a little delay.
Charlie.
Yes, hi. Hi, go ahead, you're on the air. Oh, well, we'll tell you what, give us a call back. All I ask you to do is turn down your TV, because if you have your phone in front of the TV, you're going to get a feedback, because there is a delay. But just give us a call again, 774-501-1756. When you call up, we're live here, just tell me what's on your mind. And that shows you what that area, what it looks like today with Tuxtown and everything else, that picture we were showing you right before that call. Let me go to the next one. There's one. If we look at this area where that is, we go back, that's what it used to look like with Pobers, Mel Jewelers, oh, look at it, Franklin's, all of that. Right on this is Trescott Street on the left, all the way up towards Cedar Street on the north side of Main Street. So it's quite an evolution there. Get something special. This would be around 1980. Looking at the of the downtown stores. Here we go. You're next on Olde Tyme Taunton. Hi. Go ahead.
Hello, Charlie.
Hi.
I was wondering if you have any pictures of the Transfer Restaurant. It used to be on Ware Street.
I believe I do. As we go around, I believe we'll get to that tonight. Yes.
I remember as a little guy going in there. I must have been about 8, and I noticed it was all old batch, and it looked like it'd been there forever.
Sure. Very popular restaurant. Yes.
But where I went, there was nobody in there. It was on the downside then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're going to show that. We're going to go around the green over to Ware Street, and and up Broadway as well tonight. Okay?
Oh, thanks, Charlie. You've
Great.
been a great man, too.
Thank you. Bell Shops, how about that? How many remember that? That would be, remember there used to be Warren Jewelers, Sears, you see there? Warren Jewelers and some of the others, Jet Cleaners. That's what's there, Rent-A-Center now and the chiropractor. See, Rowan's Jewelers was there, Warren Jewelers, Brooks was downtown. But Rowan Jewelers actually burned down, and that's the fire that destroyed that particular one. Oh, we get a call. You're next in Olde Tyme Taunton. Hi, go ahead.
Oh. Hi, Charlie.
Hi,
Great show.
thank you.
Do you have a picture of where Elizabeth Pohl's house was? I know she was on
Yes.
Main Street.
Yes, let me go back right to it while you're talking. Tell us about that area. You remember that going to where
I
that?
remember you talking about it in past programs, but I
Yeah.
was just wondering if you have a picture
Yeah.
and to remind us where it is.
Okay, that would be. Let me show you. See where the right here, the picture I'm going to show you now. It's where St. Pierre's shoe store is. If you go
yes.
there, you'll see where. Well, right in here, St. Pierre's moved into the area where Central Radio is. It's in that portion of the building. There's a plaque on the wall that says it's the home site of Elizabeth Pohl, and of course this area, this house was there, and she was buried there on that site, and then they just slightly after the Revolutionary War, they were digging in the backyard in the rhubarb in the garden, and they found remnants of the pink-colored casket, and they did some research and found out it was actually the remains of Elizabeth Pohl. So they.
And what address is that now?
It's right on Main Street, right opposite Cedar Street.
Okay, thank you, Charlie.
Great, thank you. So let me go through and get back to where we were there up on Broadway to the fire of Rowan. There we go. Now also, if we just look a little bit further there, we got Fannie Farmer's Candy on Main Street. D'Angelo Sub Shop was there originally before they moved over to where DeVito's is. You had SS Kresge's, that's Kmart. It was actually where the Rent-A-Center is today, Sawyer's Market. That's the snow in Main Street. I don't want to jinx us, we've had no snow this year. I told the new mayor that he must be very lucky. He had no snow yet since he took office. But this is some of the area right where Woolworths is. They took a lot of these stores out. See, Holland Cleaners, Kennedy's was there. Then F.W. Woolworths moved in, the 5 and 10. And there's the more familiar facade of Woolworths, where you can go in and they had the balloons on the lunch counter where you could you pick a balloon and there'd be a price and a piece of paper inside the balloon. And when you pop the balloon and you open it up, it could be a penny or 35 cents, anywhere in the range there. It's what it cost for a banana split at the lunch counter at Woolworths. Very, very popular store. If you go over to the corner of School Street, which is right here on the right, that's Cobb Bates and Yorkshire store. They were there from about 1883 up to about in the 1940s. They moved across the street, and then H.L. Green's moved into this. But that's what it looked like in the old store. They used to deliver. You could place your order at home, and they would go fill your order and deliver it to your house. But that's the area. School Street would be on the extreme right. So if you go from right to left, that's where Cobb Bates and Yorkshire, and that's where H.L. Green's, and that's the building next over, going from right to left. That's where DeVito's sandwich shop is today. That was a bank at one time. The next one over where the actual Veterans DAV office is, that was also a bank. And then the one on the extreme left, that was a bank, but that was also popular. Rune's Cafe in recent years, but a lot of different things over the years. You got H.L. Green's. McManus's, where DeVito's was McManus's ice cream shop at one time. There you have it, H.L. Green's. There you get H.L. Green's with the gob shops right on actually Taunton City Square, is it actually called. But then they tore down the old H.L. Greens to put Durfee Trust, which I think was a mistake, because sometimes these designs look great on the table, but you have, I think, a good architect takes in consideration what's around it, and they should have had something more compatible with the brownstone buildings to the left. But that's just my opinion. But this shows you where Rune's Cafe is. Now, it might look a little different in this. This was when it was the Taunton National Bank building, the one on the left, and the building to the right, Davenport and Mason Express. That's where the DAV headquarters is today. But notice that only 2 floors in the building where it says Taunton National Bank, and then they put the 3rd floor on top of it, the mansard roof there. And you probably remember when it was Spick and Span Bakery, the coffee shop that was there, and the Gob shops next door. Also, Piva's Auto School. See, that's where DeVito's and D'Angelo's sub shop was in recent years. That's when it was a bank at one time. See, D'Angelo's, Knights of Columbus, Taunton Travel, where Spick and Span used to be. The Enterprise Store. That's where Sovereign Bank is today. It was the Enterprise Store. They also, the Big Z, Robel's, the Bargain Warehouse was there. Brindle's Deli was in there at one time. And that was where the Taunton Savings Bank was at one time. Now you have on the other side, Sylvia's. You had the Coronet Store. All kinds of different stores. Casey's Pub used to be here at one time. Also the Morris Plan. That's where I think Rick Noon's, the popular local attorney's office, I think is right in that area. That's now the Sovereign Bank building. There's Big Z. This was taken in 1964, the Centennial Parade as they're walking by. We're going to take a stroll around Taunton Green and up Broadway. We're here live tonight, 774-501-1756. Perhaps you have some popular shops that you visited when you were a kid, or maybe when you brought your grandkids down there over the years. If you look at the next picture, this is when in 1980 how that building had deteriorated. That's the building, the Taylor Building, where it was restored into the Taunton Savings Bank and then now the Sovereign Bank. But you'd be looking straight at Casey's Pub, and the Casamia is where Pub Off-Broadway Cafe is, where Duran's used to be. Bringham's was there as well. There it is. That's the Taunton Savings Bank. There's Duran's. That's right where Off-Broadway Cafe is. We're going up Broadway here. That's the Goodyear store. Used to be downtown. The China Clipper was right next door to it. Gus's Grill and Hanson's. That's right opposite Park News. The road to the left would be Leonard Street. That's the Valadeo Travel before they moved to Main Street. Was there on crossing the Jones Block. Pat's Lunch. That's where Jimmy's Restaurant is. Pat, you can still go see Pat. She is a waitress in Jimmy's Restaurant. And of course, Park News would be the Donovan Building. It's to the right where Park News is, at Olson's Flowers. They renovated. See that? Look at that. What a good job renovating that building. See it when Pat's Lunch was there. That's Broadway on a height. You get the Jones Block to the far right. And the Taunton Green building was the one right on the extreme left. It went from the corner of City Square looking up towards there. You had the music box would be right on the left. You had Schulte's Cigar Store. Then you had the music box. I had Central Radio was there. Benny's was on there. See? Benny's was right on Broadway before they moved down to Route 44 at the Rainham-Taunton line. Perhaps you remember that. Oh, y'all can't forget the Park Theater. That's right where the courthouse is today. They had 2 theaters there, the Park Theater and the Strand Theater. Many people graduated at Taunton High School in this theater. This would be right opposite Leonard Street, where the courthouse is. They had one of the largest stages in New England. So they'd not only do movies, but they'd have shows there as well. shows like, or exhibitions or whatever, or visits from Clarabelle the Clown from the Howdy Doody show. Clarabelle was, that usher was being chased by Clarabelle the Clown. All the kids were all excited. The only thing is, the usher's got a big smile on his face because he actually made a deal with the clown because he had a date that night. There were two ushers, and he said, I didn't want to get thrown water on. So the deal was the clown had a bucket of water and a bucket of confetti. So the clown says, no problem, no problem. So he's chasing them all over, up in the balcony and everything. Chasing them, the kids were all excited, and then all of a sudden he doused them with water. So he couldn't trust the clown, but he ended up getting soaking wet. But you see the kids all having some fun. But when they had movies there, both the Park and the Strand Theater, look at all the crowd lined down Broadway, all going to the theater. You get two movies, here's cartoons on occasion. There's the Park and the Strand. It's right where the big district court is today, the Taunton trial court, I should say, where Carol's Hamburgers, these were torn down. It was Carol's Hamburgers, the building. It was put there. That same building was where Carol's Hamburgers was in, became the Hurry-In Restaurant, and then it became Store 24, and then Walgreens, and then the Taunton Trial Court. There's also Russell Motors was right there. Perhaps you remember these. Here's the Hurry-In Restaurant. And that building originally was built as Carol's Hamburgers. And if any of you have a picture of Carol's Hamburger stand when it was there, or Store 24, if you could let me know. I've been looking all over for pictures like that. 774-501-1756. We're live here at the studios. I'm Charlie Crowley. We're the host of this program, producer and host of Olde Tyme Taunton for the last 14 years. And we're continuing on doing this. Our 300th episode will be next week. So we'll have a special celebration, some old clips and things like that. So join us next week for a lot of fun on that. But that whole area is changed dramatically. Oh, we have a call. You're next on Olde Tyme Taunton. Hi. Go ahead.
Hi, Charlie?
Yes.
Yeah. Years ago, over Liggets, there was a little college, business college they called it.
Uh-huh.
And it was all for girls coming out of Taunton High School that took the commercial course.
Uh-huh.
So they continue their education.
Sure.
And go into, that field.
Right.
And also on Truscott Street, there was a furniture store. What?
Bostwick?
On Truscott Street.
Yeah, I think
let me see, what was the name of it?
Bostock, Bostwick, or something like that. Drawing a blank on it. Began with a B.
What's that?
Bostick or
Bostic and Inman, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was also a jewelry store that was Biz Jewelry Store.
Uh-huh.
Remember that?
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
You're great. You got a great memory. Great, thank you.
All righty, you're
Thank you.
welcome.
Oh, great. Oh, that young lady had some good memories of that. Perhaps you have some as well. How about Highlands Fish Market on Leonard Street? Right opposite, right where the back parking lot is of the Bristol County Savings Bank, opposite the entrance of the parking deck. It's a Highland Fish Market. Also, Broadway, you had WPEP was there right next to the old cotillion. Eddie Litchfield and his popular pep talk, and Jim Dixon. I was actually a guest many times on Ed Litchfield's pep talk. Jim Dixon would come on and work from 9 to 10:30, and then from 10:30 to 12 was Ed Litchfield's pep talk. And this is back in the 70s when I was promoting Taunton history way back then, when I was much, much, much younger than I am now. But this is the cotillion where Joe's Diner is today. This was the Hotwick Building, or the Taunton Recreation Center. Originally, this was a bowling alley, and then a dance place, a cotillion hall, the Rabbit, and many weddings receptions were held here in the old cotillion ballroom. Taunton High School, the old Taunton and I, where the Thayer Medical Center is, and Morton Hospital today, and that's the orange booklet that they gave you all the rules and a layout of the building so you wouldn't get lost. There it is. It was around 1949. That's right where the The Taylor Building is, Thayer Building, excuse me, Thayer Building and Morton Hospital, right on Washington Street. Because at Taunton High School, this is Peter George, the headmaster, the last headmaster at the old school, and he was a headmaster for many years at the new high school. But that's, I believe, on his retirement, they gave him a little replica of himself there. If you go back to downtown, you get the building at the corner, Liberty Lane, as they sometimes call it. That's the Schulte's cigar store, used to be here. But that was a hotel. That's right where this building is, used to be this big hotel straight ahead, 125-room hotel. That it actually, presidents of the United States spoke from the balcony here. William Taft, Teddy Roosevelt spoke here. But also where this burned down January 29th, 1926. This is the aftermath of that fire. And they took the insurance money for this and built what we know now as Marion Manor. Became the second Taunton Inn. But in its place, in around 1930, was built the Taunton Green building. So you had the Taunton Green Cafe, or the Circle Cafe was there, Kirby Shoes, Central Radio, and Schulte's Cigar Store. You can see Schulte's right there, right next to the right of the tuba. That building was taken down, and that small brick building, Liberty Lane, was put in its place. But this is where the courthouse, the green domed courthouse is, and Court Street would be to the left. This building still stands. This was moved on rollers on the other side of the Registry of Deeds, and it's still there. That's the old District Court building, still in existence. Also on Court Street was the original Taunton Savings Bank, and it later became an insurance building, a shop, if you will, right next to the police station. That's what it looked like inside the Taunton Savings Bank, the original Taunton Savings Bank on Court Street. Beautiful, beautiful inside. The old police station right next door to the Savings Bank, and J.M. Wells is where the old Oddfellows Hall, where the State Theater used to be. Perhaps you remember that. 774-501-1756. We only got about 12 minutes left on show number 299 here on Olde Tyme Taunton. And next week, our 300th episode. Hope you tune in. We'll have a few surprises for you. There's Taunton's finest in front of the old police station. This was taken in the late 40s, early 50s, actually, early 50s. It shows you the State Theater there to the right in what was called the Oddfellows Hall. That's what it was built for. There is the old paddy wagon, the Black Mariah, as they sometimes call it. This was discontinued. This was purchased. This picture was taken by when Johnny Parker was mayor, and they got rid of the paddy wagon in the late 1970s. That's the first police cruiser in town. It was a 1939 vehicle. Here's the old State Theater. All this torn down in the 1970s. All this is right across from the Boys Club with where the parking lot is today. How quickly we forget. And Brownie's Sunoco, right where the Citgo station is. You can see Hickey's Diner there in the background at the Boys Club. And this was the old, sometimes the Sunshine Store was there, Kiers and Tosti's store. As you're coming down Washington Street at the intersection of Court Street, this is where the Hayward, Boynton, and Williams designers have their shop there, looking up towards the what would be the old Taunton Mall. At the other end of Court Street, near the post office, that's the original Samuel Crocker home there that had been on the site where the post office is. They moved it after Crocker passed away. They moved that building over to the corner here, and it became the original Crocker building where office is in, and then they replaced it. But that's when it looked like, see that house there, when it was on the site of the post office. Congressman Crocker, he was a colleague of Abraham Lincoln, and Abraham Lincoln visited Taunton and is believed to have stayed with his colleague Crocker in his home here. But they, when they moved the building over to make room for City Hall, the city actually decided to add on and put that granite facade on the front of City Hall. That's when this lot became available for the post office. And that was a brick and granite building, the original post office, right where the current post office is. This is an old view of Cohannet Street. The old Gazette Building there where it says Felvy's, that was the Westminster Hotel at one time. Germany Cleaners would be over to the left in later years. This is pictures taken in 1923 from the tower of the old Winthrop Street Baptist Church. So the building that you see to the right is the back of the old post office. You can still see the Crocker building there. You've got in the foreground, right in the center is the Gazette Building, and of course the courthouse up above. And to the right of that, the old Taunton Inn. That's it's sometimes called Zach Building or the Flatiron Building. As you can see, the old horse and buggies, and you can see the electric wires above. That is what the arm that went from the old trolley car up to that electrical wire to give that juice. That's what the building looked like in later years when they renovated it. A recruiting office, that flag that you see just to the right of the center of the building there, that is the recruiting office flag. That's what, in 1966, you can see the old Flying A gas station there that used to be on the right before you get to Winthrop Street Baptist Church. Across the street was Plank and Hanson's, where Barron Brothers was. In recent years, it burned down. There it was. I actually took this picture in 1980 when I crawled up into the tower of the Winthrop Street Baptist Church. I was probably nuts to do that, but because if something happened to me, nobody knew I was up there. They let me go up, but nobody bothered to follow me. They could have forgot I was up there. So I didn't get all the way up. That's the south side of Taunton Green, where the Mellow Building would be to the right, and then Foster's would be right in the center. Brockton Taunton Gas. First Bristol County National Bank, that's where Foster's, Mellow, the Mellow Building today. That was the Taunton Business College was here at one time, and as the young lady mentioned, it was also a college. Courses were available, business college courses over in the Union Block building on Main Street. That's where the Mariucci's restaurant is today with Foster's, and Dean Brothers Shoe Store and Staples Coal. This was actually the Park Hotel building at one time. You get the old Sealy building there to the left, and we'd be looking with the bunting that you see straight ahead. This was taken in 1989, where the actual Fall River Pawnbrokers would be straight ahead where it says Central House. That's at the corner of Ware Street and Taunton Green, the old Dunnington's Drug. That's the Cohannet Block building. The building to the white building to the right is actually a Sealy building. But in recent years, people referred to both buildings because it had a common owner as the Sealy building. But the building in the corner, Dunnington's, was built in 1870. The one with the white facade there, that was the Sealy building. That was built in 1855. Because you can see that Sealy building, that's the one to the right. It was an agricultural warehouse at one time. Talbot Sealy's was in it. And this was the Richmond store here. And he said, Mr. Rhodes, Stephen Rhodes, he was the second mayor of the city. That the Cohannet Block, when it rose on the site, actually was home of Carlo's Pharmacy. Muggamuffin over the years, you can see that. They're two separate buildings. But that's the fire that destroyed both those buildings back in the previous decade. There it is, around 2005, 2006, somewhere around in there. Thrasher's Yarn Shop on Ware Street. There's the transfer, the gentleman mentioned earlier, that's the transfer restaurant as you're going down Ware Street on the left. Where the TMLP garages was Harry Carlo's automobile company, but they made fire engines there, and the Aaron Fox fire engines right on Ware Street here in Taunton. That's what the building looks like today, TMLP. That's what it looked like in the They were renovating that in the 30s and 40s. Well, you can go down there and get your all kind of brand new washing machine. Look at that. You got the ringers on the top. That's where the offices were upstairs in the TMLP. That's where the parking lot is next to the TMLP. That's Crowley Lumber Company. That is no relation to me, that I know of. At TMLP, 1939. I believe the gentleman's name is Leonard, who's up on the ladder. And that's where, on the left, just before you get to Pub 76, it was Fenton Motors at one time. There it is. Yeah, this is Fenton Motors, and you get Hill Street up to the right. Fenton Motors, look at that, the bargain spot. And you got where Pub 76 is, where the Registry of Motor Vehicles was around 1980. There it is. And the electric, Bristol County Electric is actually the original armory. Before the armory on Pleasant Street, this building, you see that little tower coming up, that is the part of the original building. It's still there, was the old armory. And that was discontinued in 1916 when they built the armory that was beside the library on Pleasant Street. There it is. See the tower sticking up in the back? That's the armory prior to the one on Pleasant Street. First car to come to Taunton in 1898. And then the first car made in Taunton. Okay. Daniel and Eugene Brownell, and of course, Downtown Taunton. We got a couple minutes left. Next week, just want to let you know, next week will be my 300th episode here of Olde Tyme Taunton. I started this in July of 1998 to try to, for the sole purpose of promoting the city of Taunton. It was all volunteer. I used my private photograph collection, photographs from the Old Colony Historical Society, the Taunton Daily Gazette, and for many of you over the years. Next week, I'm going to be celebrating a 300th episode. Many of the episodes, tapes of this are almost all of them are at the Taunton Public Library. So if you want to look back at an old episode, you can do that when you have company over. Great things, especially in the holidays. So I really want to thank you for making Olde Tyme Taunton so special over the years, 299 episodes. Join us next week for our 300th episode here of Olde Tyme Taunton. Thank you and good night.